Hey everybody, Dave here, back again on the 99 Fourtrax 300. Next thing I got to do is replace the fluids. I'm going to do an oil change in the engine. I'm going to change the front diff fluid. Going to change the transfer case, or whatever that might be called, fluid. Oil, engine oil. And the rear diff fluid. So let's get all good brand new fluids in this thing. Here we go. Alright, I'm going to start with draining the engine oil and replacing the engine oil and filter. Started the engine, let it run a little bit, get it warmed up, and now I'm going to drain it. I believe there's a 17 millimeter drain plug at the bottom. There we go. Let that drain. Now, I don't know how long that engine oil's been in there, but it is jet black. So it's due to be changed, I would imagine. So, okay, and while I'm letting the oil drain, I'm going to come over to the right side of the bike here and replace the oil filter, which is behind this cover. I'm going to slide the oil pan over just in case. I'm sure oil is going to come out of here. Yep. Yeah, that's black. Black, black, black. No bueno. Ugh, look at that filter. Been in there a while, it looks like. This cap has a rubber O-ring on it. Okay, here's the filter I got. High Flow Filtro Premium Oil Filter. HF113 perhaps is the number, I'm not sure. I just know it fits this engine. And that's what it should look like. And on this filter it says outside, towards filter cover. So it's pretty hard to put this in wrong unless you're not paying attention. So this is going to go like this. There's a spring in there, up against the spring. This O-ring looks fine. Let me see, the box came with no O-ring. O-rings are amazing, I love them. Back in the old days, everything had a paper gasket or a cork gasket, single use, and didn't even do that good a job. So these O-rings work perfect. So I'll put the cover back on, get these started. Snug it up. Snug it up. Snug it up, and then I'll go around a couple times and gently torque them. Alright, I'm not going to go crazy on these things at all. Here we go. That was pretty easy. And put the nice decorative cover back on. So the filter is in. Now I'm going to put the drain plug back in at the bottom and then sock it down. Don't want to go too tight, don't want to strip that, don't want to create a big problem. That should be tight enough. We'll know by tomorrow morning if it's dripping any oil. Alright, now the very important part is putting oil back in. I don't want to forget this. This takes a little over 2 quarts, 2.3, 2.4 quarts. I've got 2 quarts of full synthetic Castrol. Okay, I don't have a funnel for this, so I'm going to have to do this the old-fashioned way. Just try to be careful. And so there's 2 quarts. Okay. Alright, now I'm going to start the engine up for a moment. Okay, let's see what we got for... That's right on the mark. So I'm going to leave it there, and I'll periodically check it as I go for some test runs. I mean, that may look black, but that's not black anymore. That's nice clean oil. Alright, now we're at the front differential, and we've got a drain plug down here at the bottom, and then the fill cap up here. We're going to start by removing the drain plug. Come on. There we go. I'm trying not to drop that bolt down into the pan. Like that. Okay, and this is thick gear oil, so this is going to take a while to drain, so I'm going to let that drain a bit. Before I turn the camera off, I'm going to open this fill plug. This might help it drain a little quicker. Okay, just try to be gentle. Oh my god, look at that stuff. That doesn't look good. This might be original gear oil too as well. Cap is in good shape. Got a nice O-ring in there. Everything looks good except for the actual oil. Can you see that oil? Alright, we're going to let that drain a little bit. And we're going to go find out exactly how much oil is supposed to go back in before I refill it. Okay, so that's been draining for a while. Now I'm going to put the plug back in. And I cleaned up this plug in the washer. I'm going to make sure it's not dripping anything. So you don't want a piece of grit behind the washer to allow space for fluid to escape. Okay, that should be fine. Now this front differential holds 6.5 ounces or so. I've got the recommended oil, Pro Honda. It's what was it? Hypoid gear oil is what's recommended. So whatever that means, we've got it. So this is an 8-ounce bottle. I've taken 2 ounces out, so there's 6 ounces left in here. This holds about 6.5 ounces. And so I don't know if I got it all drained out, but we'll start by putting in 6 ounces. Okay, here we go. Okay, that's 6 ounces or so. I can't seem to get much more in there, so I think that's probably good. I mean, I even have this thing lifted up a little bit, so if I dropped it down, it would probably start pouring out. So I think that's good. Alright, now I'm going to put the cap back on. Of course I cleaned it all up a bit, put a little bit of the same oil on the seal so it glides and doesn't deform. Now I'm going to snug this up. There we go. I think that's perfect. Okay, so the front diff drained and new gear oil in there. Now let's move to the transfer unit. Alright, moving along now to the transfer case. I mean, I'm calling this a transfer case because that's what it would be called on like a four-wheel drive truck. I don't really know what the terminology for this is, but we all know what I'm talking about. And so this one's got a drain plug at the bottom. It has a fill plug here, so you take this screw out and you fill it up until it starts coming out of here. So you don't really need to know precisely how many ounces are going in it. You'll just fill it until it starts dripping out here, and then the cap up top here. So I'm going to start by pulling the drain plug out and draining everything out of here. Okay, this drain plug is rather tight, so I'm getting a 3/8 inch ratchet. There we go. It's hard to get at. Let's see if I can sneak in here with a long extension. Here we go. Oh, look at that. That is milky white. That tells me that this vent hose probably isn't sealing very well, so I've got new vent hoses I'm going to put in there. But that looks like water in the oil. So this is good. We're going to put some fresh oil in there, and we will be good to go. Can you see that white milky oil? Ugh. Okay, let's get rid of that. Okay, ready to put the plug back in. Again, clean everything up. I cleaned up the plug. A little bit of painter's tape on there to hold it in place because I got to sneak it around here. It's quite a long bolt for a plug. Okay, now we're going to sock this down. That should be plenty. Now I'm going to remove the level check bolt. Should turn it the right way. There we go. Okay, now I'm going to fill it up until it starts dripping out that hole, and then we're good. Alright, I'm going to start by adding what was left over from the first one. Oh, look at that. That's nice. Okay, I thought I had the camera on, but I didn't. But anyway, I was putting oil in here. I let it sit for a few minutes, and eventually at one point oil did start eventually to drip out of here, this level port. So I know I had enough in there. Put the plug back in, put the cap back on, and now moving to the rear final drive unit. Okay, here I am at the back final drive. So we've got the familiar looking cap and a drain plug, which is right over here through this bottom guard. Now, I wanted to take this guard off, but this bolt on the other side, the guard has been bent over and it's right up against this bolt on the other side, so I'm not going to get a socket on it. Sounds like a big pain in the butt. I'm not going to bother doing it. So I'm going to drain this. Some of this oil is going to get caught up in here, and doesn't bother me. So there's a drain plug over here. Let's see if we can break this loose. Yes. Nothing's coming out. Let's take the cap off. Alright, now something's coming out, and it is thick and gooey. It's so thick and gooey it won't even come out the drain plug hole. Yeah, that's pretty gross. So I'm glad we're changing it. We'll let that drain out for a while and see how it goes. Okay, so I've been at this now for a little while trying to get this thing cleaned out as best I can. I've been flushing it out with, I tried everything. A little bit of brake cleaner, motor oil, I mean anything to flush this thing out. And I think I got it relatively clean. So that's what it looks like in there. And there's the drain hole down there. I've been blowing compressed air in here trying to blow everything out, but I think I got it about as clean and empty as I can get it without disassembling it. So now I'm going to fill it up with gear oil, and probably 20-30 hours of riding, I'm going to come back and re-drain this thing and put some fresh oil in it again. But I mean, I've got all that black, thick, yuck stuff, or as much as I can, out. And now I'm just going to put some fresh oil in it. Alright, so I'm going to start by putting the drain plug back in. Like that. Alright, now I'm going to put some fresh gear oil in here. Yeah, it's already getting very black. So I'm going to leave this in here for, like I said, 10-20 hours, whatever, and then I'm going to re-flush it again. And I don't know, maybe do that 2 more times until I get some nice clean gear oil in there. Should be nice and clean. There's no combustion. There should be no carbon buildup. Should be nice and clean. So I'll probably do that. But okay, here we are. Going to put the cap back on and call it a night. Of course, going to clean up the cap as always. And we'll snug it down. There we go. Probably going to have some oil dripping out of this thing for a while. But that's okay, I guess. Okay, and that finishes the oil change for the rear final drive, although I will be doing it again to try to get more black mud is what it looked like out of there, and leave nothing but good clean oil in there. But the engine has brand new fully synthetic engine oil in there with a filter. We've got the transfer case with all new fluid in there. We had some kind of white milky oil come out of there, so that was a good change. The front differential looked pretty good. A little black, but we got fresh oil in there as well. And so that finishes up the fluid change for everything on my 99 Honda Fourtrax 4x4. Hope you enjoyed that. And until next time, thanks for watching.